So, session 2 of the co-op has ended, but we're here in the after party. Come on, guys, what's your general thoughts?
I can't hit shit with this bow.
Give me a dex roll right now.
Okay, here you go. Wait.
Let's see if that holds water. Yeah, you
Hey,
can't
up
hit
it straight
shit.
up there.
You can't hit shit. You suck. This boy sucks.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's only a 9 to hit the target.
That is
just below
awesome.
it every time.
That is fucking awesome. My boy's not good for long range, I swear.
But yeah. So how'd you guys feel about the session?
I liked it. I like the companions. I think that there's a very clear distinction on
Who's with who?
Yeah.
Not who's with who, but who will work better with who. At least
Yeah,
in
it's
my mind.
definitely noticeable.
There seems to be camaraderie built between pairs.
My thought process
Oh wait.
is I was gravitated more towards Kara instead of Caleb, because Caleb, one of the things you described him as was like he's very like talkative and outgoing, which is a lot like Dexter in that sense whenever he was with Clayton, so they kind of level each other out, where Kara was more standoffish, not wanting to talk a lot, and I could already see problems happening with our awkward boxer and her trying to communicate.
It was a pretty rough start.
Probably wasn't the best idea to have him go and try to like have her warm up to the group, so I figured it probably would have been better for me to go that route, where as Caleb could kind of handle the talking with Clayton as to where I would handle the talking with Carr.
Yeah, I mean,
More my thought process.
that's kind of right where I was with it. Like, Caleb was kind of more of just like he had his moments where he was quiet, but like most of the time he was kind of the more talkative person. What you were saying, and then Kara kind of distanced herself, and there's no way that Clayton's gonna go up to her and try and say anything.
Oh,
like,
I feel like he would, but he would just go,
hi.
Kinda already
I gotta
did.
go. Yeah, I gotta go.
Whenever he first introduced himself, it was so obvious.
Look at her face. That's what I imagine she looked like whenever you said that. Wait, we just got here. She's like, what
whenever
the
we
fuck?
first met them, and I was like, "Oh, this is my name." He just goes, "I'm Clayton." I'm like, "Oh, fucking hell."
It wasn't even you were like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" It's like you're in like mid conversation. Yeah, no, I'm Clayton.
I'm Clayton. Oh, dude,
Which I feel like is so in character.
Okay.
Too. It's so in character.
I was just like, I just kind of ignored it. I was like, "Oh, fucking hell." I just kept going,
Everyone seemed to.
but I was like, "Oh my god!" And
Like-
so, yeah.
Honestly, I could have seen Caleb being like, "Hi, Clayton," like being like getting into it.
But
no, I
yeah,
thought it was fun.
we'll take this standard procedure for after party. Last after party wasn't like this. Last co-op one because it wasn't a thing. But we have people now, so we'll go one by one through the characters about how they did and all that good stuff. And for new characters, impressions and thoughts. Okay, we'll just go in order on the screen. So, Dexter, how did Dexter do this session?
I wasn't doing a whole lot. I was more just teaching and then plotting, if that makes sense. The beginning of the session was more my time to shine, if you will, whenever I went and got the radio, and I did that with pretty much without a hitch. Nobody got hurt or anything like that, and then
It is true.
Good
We
to go.
will get to that during the scenarios section, but
yeah, I
Yeah.
did get enough. There wasn't a whole lot for me to do.
yeah, sort of took a back seat, stayed behind on the mission.
I feel like at the beginning of it though, definitely grabbed it by the horns. Leading our two new people.
Well, I mean, could he
You
really
know,
leave
kinda
you in
got
charge
him
of
at.
talking though?
Oh, that'd have been amazing. Like, Clayton, I don't want to talk to that.
So,
Just sit me out there.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we'll move to Clayton. How did Clayton fare? Rough start.
I think it's beginning not good for him meeting these new people, but I feel like things between him and Caleb are going pretty decent. they're kind of bonding a little bit more. They went on this whole trip doing the investigation. They already had to fight beside each other, which can't really said with Kara or anything, but I feel like he's kind of doing a little better, just not in the talking aspect.
Right.
And but I think our boys kind of
Yeah, did pretty
sit
good.
there and learn.
Beat up some people, Daredevil style.
Yeah, he did kind of pop off, and then he kind of missed a little bit, but then he popped off.
Yeah, we'll spiral this to keep it relevant. Caleb.
Sean, if you're okay with that, I'm gonna start off with it. It's kind of spent more time with him, but I think Caleb honestly was pretty cool. Probably would be more talkative in the situations of bringing up stuff, like would be Clayton saying stuff, but yeah, I mean he's a pretty chill guy.
He's just a chill guy.
Yeah, honestly.
Sean, impressions?
I'm cool with him. I mean, like I said, he had a lot of similarities to Dexter in the sense where he's a lot more talkative. So I didn't obviously deal with him a whole lot, but from what I gathered, he was cool enough. I mean, it's kind of like more of like a golden retriever where he's more eager to talk to everybody and just seemed like he's eager to be useful. So he's gonna come in handy, and he was able to hold his own well enough with Clayton whenever they went out on their mission, and nobody died. So good enough for me.
Okay, and how about Kara? She stayed behind on the mission.
Same thing. I mean, she doesn't seem to have a whole bunch of obviously working in office, not being in the city. Like she's standoffish, which was pretty well perceived, which was pretty evident at the very beginning. So she did fine, just kind of picking
Clayton
up on
didn't
everything
pick
she
up
was
on
getting
that.
taught.
Yeah, honestly.
But she did well enough kind of learning everything. She seemed more receptive to it, and like she's kind of more opening up slowly, but I mean, at least being more talkative and things like that and learn how to do so. Still pretty irritable, obviously. She missed 2 shots with the bow and was ready to fucking air the whole place out, but but no, yeah, seemed to be a natural on picking up all the survival stuff quick, so that'll be useful as well.
Yeah, so we'll take it by scenario. Alright, you guys woke up,
We
did your basic stuff, met some people, brought it back to camp, had a bit of free time.
Show did.
Yeah. So, opening? Good, bad?
I liked it. I mean, it's pretty typical start to a day. I mean, it was just woke up. What the hell are you gonna do? Do whatever it is. I mean, what would you do in a fucking zombie apocalypse, right? Whenever you wake up, as long as there's not something immediately trying to kill you, you probably just go around doing casual shit. So
Yeah, that
kind
was
of what
pretty
we
chill.
did.
Yeah, nice, chill,
I mean,
simple.
And I feel like it's kind of like a good lead up to what's slowly starting to happen.
Just
Yeah.
means we're gonna get absolutely fucked the next time we get an opportunity to wake up and start it like that.
So, this I'm gonna direct at Sean. So this compared to the main campaign. Main campaign usually opens up with a sort of set scenario, whereas this was more of like a open-ended sort of decision-based thing where you could do pretty much whatever that just had an event thrown in.
Are you asking which do I prefer?
Not necessarily what you prefer, but how do you feel like the two go off of each other?
I like having the set story, I think, a little bit more, just because I feel like it picks up the episode a lot faster. Where, like how in episode 2, it was me and Tommy starting off checking like traps and stuff like that, and kind of all the situations that led into. It kind of, gets the ball rolling really quick, where this is kind of more of a slow burner, and then it picks up, which is fine as well. I mean, it's nice. Having done both, it's nice to have like the switch up between it to where it's not too much of one than the other. But in terms of like preference, if I had to like rank the two, I like having the set scenario. So it kind of gets the ball rolling quick, kind of gets you in the groove of things, get the juices flowing as far as like what you're gonna do with like your character and stuff like that. So
Gotcha. Mason, I know you haven't really experienced the other side since it's only your second session, but your sort of opinions?
What was it again? Opinions on what? I'm sorry.
Would you rather have a set scenario at the very beginning, so like we wake up, this is what's happening, or have the free time like we did before, like having
Yeah,
the
so
freedom to kind of
so for
Oh, I
instance,
got you.
so
Just-
for
I
instance,
got you.
on this, it was you woke up and I asked, well, what would you be doing right now, as an opener? Whereas in session 2 of the main campaign, it opened up with Sean already in a scenario.
I think a mix of both kind of would work out. So instead of me and Sean choosing what we do with these people, I think like basically us go like me being like, hey, I'm gonna go talk to Caleb. You kind of guide it more to what it's going to lead to, instead of it literally being anything. Because then it makes it to where, in that situation, like especially like starting off, like it might just be a casual conversation, and so you're basically just helping us get more stuff from these people, or like we might have a little bit more stuff, but I kind of like the open end of it more than it just being a straightforward situation of what's going on. I just think
So it's
kind of
not
more like
so like dialogue and stuff is still open.
yeah.
Essentially, the difference is I let you guys. So like not like with the dialogue and all that stuff. Like before that, like before they even showed up, it was like you guys woke up and it was like, okay, well, what are you guys doing? So in session 2, we just straight up had it where it was like, okay, Sean and one of his companions were out on
Currently
mission
doing
already.
something.
It
Yeah.
wasn't. We picked up like where
I
it
got
ended
you, I
off.
got
I mean, like we started out with a brand new scenario. I
Think
believe.
of like in a
Session-
video game, you just start the mission.
Yeah, session 4 started. I don't believe it started with the fishing trip, but that one was sort of set up to go into it. So sort of like where something is like already kind of basically starting the session with an event already going on, as opposed to this where it started with sort of like whatever you wanted it to be.
Yeah. So like imagine if we started and I was already talking to both Kara and Caleb and you were just walking down.
Yeah, or like it started
That
with you
was the
guys like
very beginning.
or doing literally session 2 and starting with you guys like checking traps and that kind of stuff before encountering something. That would be your sort of starting scenario, or there would be maybe an encounter.
I feel like it's kind of
I know you haven't really experienced the other side,
it's
so
kinda-
it's
it's
a bit
kinda hard to
harder
say
for you
because,
to
like-
say, but
like I feel like it'd be kind of better situation wise, like where you kind of already lay out the situation.
Think of like
But
how
also,
in session
it
1 you
helps-
started off as a boxer and you were mid-fight and you just finished. Like, did you like how that automatically you started in the middle of something? Or would you have rather been, okay, cool, like, stay 1, you get out of bed, you got to fight in a couple hours, what do you do? Like, did you like automatically being locked into something? Or did you like the freedom to kind of, oh, I'm going to go do this?
I would say honestly, the situation would probably work better then.
Okay.
Just because, like, I feel like at that point it's gonna lead to a more forced open end. So, like, if Sean would have just stayed at camp the entire time, then it'd have been kind of hard to get Kara and Caleb introduced at that point. Unless you just had them roll up on us, like you'd have to kind of change that around too.
Yeah, did you have a different way that we were going to run into them? Would it have been whenever
there were a couple ways.
it just
Okay.
worked out perfectly that I ended up going and looking around?
Yeah, that's kind of just how it turned out. There were other situations though that could have.
What'd you have in mind?
One would be they would just start looking around the area because it's very clear that the crate is in the back of the truck, but a lot of the shit is gone. And why would someone just abandon some stuff and the crate itself and just take off with some stuff?
Yeah.
So they probably would have investigated the area, and that could have
And just
led to a
stumbled across
lot of things. There were a few other scenarios that were planned where if you didn't meet up with them immediately, there probably would have been a situation roll that would have determined which one would have happened, but
I mean, I like the way it turned out. It was very organic, like it wasn't forced.
yeah, there were a couple like that. There were some that were more forced, some that were more open-ended. There were a lot of planned scenarios for how this could have happened.
So I'm gonna ask because I don't know if we've talked about it or anything.
Sure.
So obviously, like, me and Sean kind of had an idea that these were probably gonna be companions.
Right.
Was there ever a scenario where they could have not been our companions?
Yes.
Okay.
Depending on how things went with them, they could have decided to just not join. It was pretty geared towards that happening, so things would have had to go pretty wrong in the
We would have had to really fuck
We would
up.
have had to do some dog shit roll.
with the scenario that Dexter initiated. It would have been pretty hard for that to happen. If some of the other ones had happened, then there would have been chances like them dying or being more skeptical and deciding to just move on from the area.
Yeah.
There were other things that could have happened, but it did go down probably the smoothest way with the most sort of easiest scenario to work with.
I got you.
But moving from that, we did get some free time. How'd you guys feel about your first free time? I think
Fine.
this is technically Sean's second, but first for this campaign.
Oh, completely fine. I mean, I felt like I did the logical thing.
Yeah, you both got little stat boosts, little something.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Mason wishes that he would have trained charisma, but it is what it is.
Oh no, I knew that would not. I feel like that'd be not something I would, like, willingly get. Like, it would have to be like, well, okay, like you're hanging out with, Caleb a lot. And you guys are
I will
talking a lot
find
more.
every excuse to not give you charisma.
Yes.
I will find every excuse. Be like, you know what? You talked your way through a lot of things. I think instead of giving you +1 charisma, I think I'll just give you, like, I don't know. You seem to, like, really, like, be wise during that. Get a wisdom. Or like, you know what? You were actually pretty deceptive there. You passed every deception check despite all odds. You get proficiency on deception instead of a +1 to charisma. Like, just whatever it takes to not give you that, because it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, but I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, the free time is still a new thing. The events are meant to be more like short burst, kind of like, yeah, you can kind of talk with the companions and sort of dive a bit deeper into them, sort of a thing. Obviously, they're still like brand new, so they are still a bit, I don't want to say like skeptical on you guys, but maybe distant might be the right word.
I feel like it's kind of like a plus and a negative. Like us, so we get to choose what we do, but I think that also kind of drags it out a little. Like, if we say, hey, we're gonna go talk to, Caleb about past life, it's gonna drag it out, and like we're gonna hear everything instead of, you just kind of running down like a summary of what happened in that thing, and then being
I like that aspect.
like, but also like Sean just said, it's also the fact we get to see more descriptive stuff about it. It's not more just like kind of like a broad, like, hey, this is how it is.
Yeah, the way I look at it is,
Yeah, well, like I
since
said,
we're the
you
ones
can-
playing it. It's our job to flesh out those characters. If we don't ask the
Yep,
questions, they'll
exactly.
just never know. Which is
Yeah,
why,
well, like I
whenever
said-
go, I'm gonna go talk to them.
You can chat with them for free,
Yeah.
but if you want, you can just say, yeah, I'm just going to use my free time on this.
And then you might get a little bit. It'll be more in depth.
Yeah, so if you want to sort of just chat with them to like maybe learn about them, that's free to a degree. Let's like Sean's in the main campaign. I'm not. Yeah, he can go visit with everyone real quick, but he's not gonna get like a nice like sit down chat with everyone, because God,
There's
that
way
would
too
take
many
forever.
Fucking people. It'd be an hour and a half just talking to everyone.
There's 11 people counting Sean.
Yeah.
But like, he could kind of like pop in, because sometimes I have given him, even before free time was a thing, where he could kind of just like check in on everyone. Do like a quick pop in, like, oh yeah, what's going on? Do you have any problems? Like that sort of thing. But the free time's more so for like more detailed sort of dives at things. Like if you want to learn about the characters, you could ask for that sort of stuff and sort of ask those questions and flesh them out. And you may gain like new details and, that sort of stuff on them but not necessarily. You can use your free time and be like, okay, yeah, me and Caleb are gonna go hunting or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to talk with him and learn a bit about him, you can, but you don't technically have to. You could just use the time to just hunt with him.
Yeah, I got you.
So, yeah, it's the free time is really just however you want to use it.
I think it's fun. I think it's a cool little aspect to have.
So then moving on, you got the radio. Went off pretty easily. It was our only combat scenario with a map.
Yeah.
Quote unquote combat. There was only one kill? Yeah, it was only one.
No, actually, no, it wasn't even a kill. It wasn't even a kill.
No, there was a kill. He killed the one on the
ran
other
away.
side of the truck.
Oh, yeah, and then the other one started chasing us.
Yeah, it was one kill. There was one caught in initiative that you guys escaped from.
Yeah.
Got the radio. You guys now have a nice, big-ass radio set. And then we broke into teams. So typically in D&D, there's a rule. I was hoping Mason was gonna say it, but I guess he doesn't know it.
No.
Never split the party, because it always goes bad. But it turned out pretty well. Which is very strange to split a party that's already so small. Because all it would have taken is rolls to go slightly worse, and...
Everything go downhill. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
you...
would have just made our way over there and found
I just
To
feel
the
like
other
like
side
kinda
of the city on foot, because they took the only car.
There were two cars, correction. Me and Mason both took them. We would have done the same
That is
exact
true.
thing for the other car. Incorrect, DM. Know your continuity, Austin. What the hell?
But either way, I do
Hey,
agree.
that's
with
part of
Austin.
that's part of equipment. You're supposed to keep track of that, not me.
I do
what
agree
I
with
had.
Austin on the fact of if things would have gone south, that it would have been like, well, shit.
Okay,
And-
but Sean,
and it's-
also consider this. You don't know where it is.
Why would I not know where it is?
We did mark
That
it on
was
the
your
map for him.
that was your whole point. Was that he went because you don't know the area well. That you'd
Yeah,
have a
and
map,
then
but you'd still
He
have
told
to
me on the
find
map,
it.
and we just have to navigate it. Know how to use a fucking map.
The point I'm making is if things would have went bad, you still would have been a decent ways away.
And it would have been fine.
So he still would have had to survive on his own for like at least 30 minutes. Minimum.
I feel like no
Also,
matter
it's
what though, in
moving-
this situation, we would have split no matter what. In this situation, like I said, I think it should have been like Caleb, Clayton, and Dexter kind of all making a move. But then also Sean brought up the good point of, what if something happens here and Carr's the only one?
Well, that,
But
and
then-
we're leaving the one person that was the most dismissive of us and the most standoffish alone in our camp with all of our shit.
But that's what I'm saying. There's kind of no way for 3 of us to go. And it also makes no sense for all of us to go. So I feel like at that point, splitting it 50-50 just kind of like, it kind of has to happen.
That or we just straight up didn't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
cool.
so what I'll say,
that's crazy.
is that with the way that your camp is set up, it's so remote, the odds of something happening to it would be pretty low.
Well, that's why I said since we did just deal with those zombies and we ran away, in case any of them followed us up, I didn't want to just straight up leave and then have this thing be popping with zombies if anything followed us up.
Yeah, but moving to the...
And the one, if I've learned anything from the main campaign real quick, just because it's unlikely, the odds might be low, but they're never fucking 0, okay? So
It is true,
there's
it's
one thing I
it's
fucking learned.
improbable, but it is not impossible.
If there's one thing I've learned, I'm not taking stupid fucking risks that I don't have to take.
That is true. But the scouting mission, no maps. I still think it went pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like in like a situation like that, I mean, we didn't necessarily need a map at the moment. Like, I think
Yeah.
next time when we actually go, and it's all of us, it should be more detailed for the fact of,
So while we were waiting on you, I was talking to Sean about it, that I do want to try more stuff without maps. There will be times where there will be maps, obviously to show detail and that kind of stuff, and to make combat a little bit more clear. But like, I wanted to try doing more stuff without maps because there's only been a couple of those so far. And I was not expecting things to take this turn at all. So I had literally nothing prepared, so it kind of had to be that way.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, obviously, I imagine a lot of the stuff that we were gonna use this co-op for is probably gonna get pushed to the next one because this took a completely different turn than what you were
Probably
expecting.
none of what was supposed to be here is going to go used.
Okay, then what was it?
What was it then? Yeah.
The shopping center had a huge scenario surrounding it.
Oh, so you expected us to do more with the shopping center itself?
Yeah, whether that was scouting it or, infiltrating it or, assaulting it, whatever. I expected something to go with that. You guys took
for
it
the base.
You guys took it the complete opposite direction of literally they were like, yeah, there was at least 10 guys who came in and ransacked our place, and you guys were like, yeah, we got 4 people. We can break into a team of 2 and we can probably take them.
Well, what you could have done also was you could have taken it to where whenever they were on their way, they noticed the shopping center, and then Caleb was like, "Oh, pull over." And then we would've came down.
But that's not the direction it was going, so I didn't want to turn it that way.
I would say you could still use that to where there's something going on there.
It will still go used for something eventually. It just won't go used for this. It won't be its intended purpose, but it will. I'm not gonna just scrap everything involving it. I'll probably reuse the map for something. Yeah.
I think in situations like that, you should somewhat guide it. Like you could somewhat play it to where like maybe one of the characters says something that kind of disilludes us from doing like going to the base, because like you could like, well, there were 10 people at the little market, but.
Look, you guys were full on about this thing.
Base.
You guys were full on about it. I was like, you know what? We'll just go with it. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Yeah, that is
so I said, you know what? We'll roll with it. We'll see what our boys can do.
You can plan it like a heist. That's what I'm thinking, like a GTA heist.
Yeah, and I did think that you were going to attempt that. Using the truck to infiltrate the place.
That's what I plan on doing.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea of what we're gonna do.
We're gonna use.
No, I'm saying during this, I thought you were going to like try something with it.
Oh no, it would have been way too risky with just 2 people. If they get spotted, they're guaranteed dead. Granted, 4 people doesn't. Make
4 people is not. That's. I'd say that's probably the exact same
4v,
likelihood.
4v25 plus. Come on.
Yeah, but think about it. It would have been so funny because then it would have. That's why I asked you who was driving, because then you would have pulled up and the guy would have been talking to you.
Dude, that'd have been great.
And you would have had to do a deception check.
That'd have been funny too if I got a 20, and then Caleb's like, "What?"
Caleb's like, "Oh fuck."
Like, bro, how?
To be fair, I probably would have given you advantage.
How we kind of direct it.
But what we're gonna, I got plans that we can do for that. We're gonna set up a big diversion, real close, sneak in.
Well, unfortunately, this is the end of the No, I'm kidding.
On the bright side, though, this does solve the problem. If we wanted to go, you said, oh, well, how would the main campaign group hear about this group? That was one thing we talked about in the last after party. This big heist could potentially be it.
I guess we'll see next time.
So,
I guess we will.
Yeah, one thing I would like to throw out there, Sean, these bandits. You didn't get to. There was going to be something that was going to happen that would tie them in with the bandits from Session 3.
Mm-hmm.
Since the shopping center scenario didn't happen, that didn't go used. But there was. So originally it was going to be you guys would approach, and then you guys would stealth, negotiate, attack, do whatever to get into the shopping center and sort of loot it and whatever. Then the bandits were going to pull a Session 3 on you, pull up, honking their horns like crazy and setting off sirens to attract a horde.
What, to our camp?
No, to the
No,
shopping
to
center.
the shop. Yeah.
And then it'd be kind of up to you guys about how much to loot before bailing.
Oh, well, I'm glad we didn't do it then. So
Damn.
we gonna hit a big old lick. We gonna be a dog shit by the time we're done with this, bro.
Yeah, if you make it.
We're gonna make it.
There's at least 20, at least 25.
We're gonna
Yeah,
be
that's what I
up
spotted.
dog shit. is
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
that you spotted.
Yeah, that I've spotted.
We're gonna be alright.
But yeah, I think it was good. Overall, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, W.
Okay. How does this session compare to the first?
Again, I had more of a back burner on this one, so I mean, I don't necessarily have a preference, but
I feel like it's kind of hard to compare because like the first one's kind of like stuff basically happened the entire time. This one was kind of like like I said, like a slow burning, prepare for the like what's going to happen next. Like episode 1 was basically there was no real rest until the very end. But this is more of like a we literally were doing nothing at the very beginning, and then we were casually talking, and now shit's getting kind of real. And so I feel like both are kind of too different to be like, well, this one was better than this. I think both were good in their own kind of way for it.
True. So on my side as a DM, I feel like this session went a lot smoother, since there were some issues in session 1 on my end. On like technical and setup side. But I feel like this one went a lot smoother, especially with sort of like the improv/impromptu sort of scenes. Since obviously everything at like the bandit camp, the shopettes, all that kind of stuff, completely off the rails out of nowhere. Like, there was nothing planned about any of that. And I feel like it turned out pretty decent. Obviously, the scenarios weren't... That scenario wasn't, like, too deep, since it was just a scouting mission. So that kind of made it a bit easier to sort of write around, I suppose. But overall, I would say the session, from the DM side, went pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. So yeah, if it went good, good job.
Well, I'm just giving my angle, since usually we just kind of give the player's aspect during these.
True.
That's very true.
Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed it.
But yeah, any closing thoughts?
Thought it was kind of weird that Mason was pulling on that guy's hair, but other than that, no.
Hey, I did finish him.
While on top.
Well,
Well, alright, I guess that'll be the end of the after party.
Sure will. Get you on the next one.
Alright, with a thank you to all of our viewers, and an extra special thank you to our members/supporters.
Reign of Cows for the Decay membership. Appreciate you, bro.
And for our Defiant members, the most handsome of the bunch, we're gonna go ahead and give that to Turtle with a Gun 1.